I think one of the most common misconceptions about emotional intelligence is that emotionally intelligent people don't react anymore. Like they're always calm, cool, collected, zen, peaceful, know their worth, and don't get affected by external things. And it's just not true at all. Recently, I had a moment that all of my emotional intelligence was put to the test, essentially, and I succeeded. And I was so proud of myself because in that moment, I knew that I was responding to a high stress, if you will, situation in a way that I normally absolutely would not have. An old version of me absolutely would have lost her ever loving mind and made it everybody's fucking problem. And I had another moment earlier this week that I lost my mind a little bit, got a little ragey, and took it out on my boyfriend. I definitely have a couple Wellish confessions for you guys. I think what happens is a lot of conversations online make emotional intelligence sound like another thing for us to be perfectionists about, that we should not emotionally react. We should have this calm, cool demeanor. And if we do the growth work enough, that will just be this highest version of ourselves 100% of the time. But it just adds to that unhealthy narrative that we have in our head that if we don't react well 100% of the time, then we are still unhealed and still doing something wrong, which is what leads us to spiraling and ruminating about things we did or said that we wish we didn't and beating ourselves up for screwing it up again. And I think what gets really screwed up is if we have hyper self awareness that we're emotional intelligent. But those two things are not the same. You could be fully aware of yourself and why you do the things that you do and not have the skill set to actually change the behavior. Same thing with like people knowing therapy speak. A lot of the time, scary people now, the unhealthy, unhealed people now know therapy speak because of the internet, and they will try to use it against you. They'll try to tell you that you're manipulating them or gaslighting them, or they'll get in front of the problem and be like, I really love you, this is not me love bombing, like it could be considered that way in some things, but I really feel this way about you, like just using these terms that we know and love and use them to manipulate us further. And it's not all evil people. Like people use therapy speak all the time, but don't actually have the behavior to back it up. And that's the difference between the people that are hyper self aware and the people that are just using therapy speak and the people that are genuinely emotionally intelligent. Is the people that can just talk it, that's all there is. It stops there. Where the people that are actually emotionally intelligent don't have to talk it, they just behave that way. They just show up that way. It's very much a situation that you have to be able to listen to people's actions and not their words. Just because you can explain your triggers doesn't mean you're actually regulating them. And I learned that in real time this week. So let me paint the picture, okay, of where I got ragey at my boyfriend. I have always been a little bit ragey, okay? And I try to not take it out on the people that I love because that's completely unfair. But I still get angry and like I still like things will piss me off and I have those rage moments. And so I had to go get contacts from Walmart. I accidentally was wearing my last pair of contacts, and when I fell asleep at night, took them out late, I left them, like I missed the case and they just dried up next to the case overnight. So I have no contacts now. And I asked him to take me to Walmart so that I could just buy a box or two. Long story short, I don't have a valid prescription. My job doesn't offer eye insurance, only, health insurance. And so I had a freak out. I was talking to the woman. She told me she wouldn't sell them to me. So I said, I guess I'll just have to buy them on the internet then. Thanks. Have a good day. And as we're walking out, like I feel the anger of that. And so then I start kind of ranting to him about how stupid that is, that they wouldn't sell them to me. And what am I supposed to do? Am I just not supposed to see? How is that not a necessity? I know my prescription. I'm telling you what it is. Like, just sell them to me. It's my problem if like it's not the most updated or whatever. I understand it's a liability thing probably, but I in that moment didn't care about that. I was just raging about it. And so he was like, "Is that why you said that smart ass comment about finding him on the internet?" And oh my God, it just ignited the depths of hell inside of my soul to unleash. And I did not do a full unleash on him. Like I more so shut down and just like I tried to explain to him in a calm manner as possible that it wasn't helpful to make that comment, that it just made me anxious. But before I did that, I went into an explanation and trying to like over explain why I said what I said and that I didn't think I was coming across as rude. I was just saying I'm going to find them online. I wasn't trying to be snotty or be a bitch. And then I started blaming the woman, saying that like she had an attitude, so like maybe if she was nicer, I wouldn't have responded that way. But you see how I'm just reacting to everything. And so that's what was happening. So essentially, we are driving from Walmart to the gym. So this whole drive is kind of like this. And once we get to the gym, he's like, "Are you even in the mood to work out? Like, I don't want you to not be in the right headspace." And I'm know in my soul that if I don't go into that gym, like, this is how my day will continue. So like it's actually 100% the perfect space to be in, but I just again I didn't have my nervous system wasn't regulated and I was misfiring. And so I was just like, just whatever. Whatever. Yeah, just do it. We're just going to do it, okay? Like that's we're just doing it instead of saying like, "No, this is actually what would be really helpful for me right now." So we pull in, and I have to this is the first time going to this gym, so I have to figure out how to like get signed up and all the things. And so he's trying to help me, but we're just very much, we're having an issue because of my anger at this point and not being able to like have the space to regulate it. And there was a moment that I even said like, "I just need space from you because I don't want to say things that are mean. Like I know that I'm being a freak right now and I don't want to take that out on you." So that's essentially what was happening, right? Is that I am not able to get contacts and now he has to deal with my wrath. Like that's not fair. But even though I could know that, my nervous system just wanted an outlet so badly. There was definitely a part of me that didn't used to exist that knew what was happening in that moment, but there was still a part of me that could not stop reacting anyways. Like, I can't stop that emotional momentum yet when it gets to a certain level of high emotion. And that old version of me would have 100% just unleashed my full rage on a person. And I felt like entitled that they had to deal with it because I felt that it was just me being a passionate person. I felt it was me expressing my emotions honestly. I felt like if they loved me, that they had to be on the receiving end of it, or like if they caused me to be upset, that they needed to experience that upsetness in full. And that's another thing that I do is I feel that if I don't express the rage, if I don't like fully unleash, that I'm going to be misunderstood. Like it comes from this place of wanting so badly to be seen and heard that I think that if I have this psychotic reaction that they will really understand how much this upsets me. And I felt like that was just me being real, and that I was using my emotional expression as emotional discharge, just spewing shit out of me and word vomiting in an effort. It's just a selfish act, like to try to make me feel better, even though I'm making other people feel worse. Now, though, I recognize it faster, and that's huge. It's not about it never happening at all. It's being able to notice it faster than you did the last time. And that I tried to create distance, like that I did say, "I need to separate from you because I am being a menace and I don't want to take it out on you." Because I have full awareness that my emotions are my responsibility to regulate and that I need to be able to do that. And I don't feel entitled to emotionally vomit all over people anymore. But I'm still learning because even though I know that I need to be able to regulate my emotions, I still can't when I get too elevated in that moment to the fullest capacity. Like I need to separate myself. Like it would be ideal that I don't need to do that and I would be able to just regulate and make it, internalize and work through it on my own right in that moment and not even get to the point that I'm at risk of saying things bad to people because there are some times that I still react because obviously I'm still reacting without regulating. But I think that true emotional intelligence is not about never reacting. Like it's an unrealistic expectation to think that things aren't going to piss you off and that bad things aren't going to happen and you're not going to have a reaction to that. But instead, focusing on how quickly you recognize what's happening and taking responsibility for it and then regulating it. Now, the other thing that happened to me recently is I left my AirPods on the train during my commute home. I had one AirPod in the case. The case was in my pocket. I got home. I was going to a yoga class, so I was trying to find my AirPods to walk to the gym and I could not find them. So I pulled them up on Find My on my phone and I see that they are at Union Station in Chicago. So I went into go get them mode. I said, well, I'm not going to the yoga class. That sucks, but oh well. What I care about is my AirPods. I grabbed my car keys. I got in the car and I threw Union Station in my GPS and I went down there and I threw my hazards on in front of the station and I went into the station and I found the conductor that was on my train and asked him what train we were on. And I walked through that whole train pinging my AirPods and using the search tool features. And I did get them back. I did find them. But that whole time I was fully regulated. That whole time I was not freaking out. I was not upset. I was not raging. I was not angry. I was not anxious. I was not upset that I had to miss yoga. Like I would have ruminated on that before, like would have used that as like rage fuel that I'd be like, oh, I just wanted to go and do that. Why can't I just do, one thing? I just wanted to do something for myself. And now I have to deal with this. I can't believe this is happening. And what's going to happen if I don't find them? Oh my God, this is going to be so expensive. What am I going to do to replace them? I can't live without my AirPods. I'll die at work without my AirPods. I'll die in life without my AirPods. That's all I do is use my AirPods constantly. Like they're attached to me. That's like, like that fully would have been how the old version of me would react. But this version of me just handled it. She just did what she had to do. I just did what I had to do in order to get my AirPods back. And I trusted I would get them back because I could see their location. And I trusted that if I couldn't get them back, I would handle that too. And that they're important enough to me that it's worth it to just pay to replace them. And that I would just have to handle that if it happened. It was crazy. And the whole time it was happening, I was fully aware that I was reacting differently than I ever would have in the past. It was a very cool experience. I remember feeling like genuinely proud of myself as I was like walking up to the train after I had gotten them back and I was walking out of the station as I was driving in my car. Like it was crazy because I obviously wanted to get them and I was like just like calmly, neutrally going to do that, but also feeling this like intense happiness that this was how I was responding to a situation that I really would have responded horribly to before. It was really the nail in the coffin to a lesson that I have intellectually understood for so long, but emotionally could not understand. And that's that it doesn't matter how much you react to something, it's not going to change the outcome. Like if I had completely lost my mind, I still would have found my AirPods or still would have not found my AirPods. And no amount of reacting and freaking out about it would have changed that outcome. So instead, I got to feel happy and proud of myself and calm and just problem solve the issue, take a cute little drive downtown, walk through Union Station. I could have gotten a Starbucks if I felt like doing that, like it just so much more of a clear-headed experience that allowed for more beneficial thoughts than any of the chaotic thoughts would have done for me. And that's the whole vibe with being emotionally intelligent, is that stuff still stresses emotionally intelligent people out, but they don't add to their suffering any more than they already are suffering. Like, we're not self-inducing even more stress. I think it's really important to address how invisible emotional intelligence is, because when we set out to be better at something, it's typically external. Like, we typically get an external result from the thing that we're trying to be better at. If I set out to learn how to paint, I'm going to have the first painting I ever did and be able to look at that compared to the paintings that are in my art gallery and see how much growth I've experienced. But it doesn't work that way for the things that are inside of you. And so it gets confusing, because when you still experience stress, but media makes you feel like you're supposed to be this perfectionist, walk on water Zen monk about it. And until you are that, you aren't emotionally intelligent, or you're not doing it right, or you're still screwed up, that you don't get to treat yourself the way you deserve to be treated. But truly, anytime you pause before you react, or when you recover from a trigger 2 hours later compared to 2 days later, noticing when you're projecting your feelings out into the world or onto other people, or being able to be honest with yourself about why you are moving the way you're moving. And if you don't like the way you're moving, being able to apologize to people quicker than you used to be able to. Maybe not even being able to take action on the things yet because your knowledge to skill gap is still too big, but just noticing even when you are reacting instead of regulating. And even if you can't regulate yet, if you're aware of it, that's also growth. And it just takes so long to build the emotional intelligence and the skill in order to do this stuff, that all of these steps, all of these phases of building your emotional intelligence are all things that should be rewarded. But a lot of emotional intelligence does not look impressive from the outside. It just looks like you're living and doing what you're supposed to do. You don't have to be perfect in order to be emotionally intelligent. And I really used to believe that. Like, I really had this image of myself in my head that until I showed up like her, I wasn't going to be nice to myself. I wasn't going to consider myself good enough. But emotionally intelligent people are still people. They are still human. You still get triggered. You still get ragey. You still get sad. You still have extreme high happiness, and that causes you to make choices that you normally wouldn't make. But the difference is they stop getting sucked into the reaction of it and instead start taking responsibility for it. Healing isn't becoming emotionless. And I think that a lot of what we hear gives us this false idea that we're not going to have high emotions anymore. Like, we're going to just like be regulated and have it all together. But you absolutely forever will still experience emotions. It's just how well you can regulate them and how safe you can make yourself feel about your own emotions, in your own body, within your own life experience. And progress emotionally is always going to be quieter than external progress. Sometimes emotional intelligence is just catching yourself 5 minutes earlier than something you used to not be able to catch at all. And the most important thing is that two things can be true at once. You can be emotionally intelligent and you can still be in progress, getting better and developing your emotional intelligence more and more every single day. Gaining more and more awareness about yourself and the world, and making sure you're consistently aware of yourself in the world, is always going to be a part of emotional intelligence, but regulation is the day-to-day practice that you're continuously going to build the skill of implementing. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for being here. Fridays are where the chaotic mind that goes into the advice episodes that are every Monday. So you're going to want to check out this Monday. We're talking about how to actually develop self-compassion in a way that doesn't feel fake or cringe. So you're not going to want to miss it. I love you endlessly. I hope you have an incredible, aligned, safe weekend, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.